Welcome to the Empower Me Show with Pam Bright. This show is all about honoring you as a spiritual being, having a human experience. You are here for a reason, and it's no mistake that you are here on Earth right now. Spirit has guided you to this very moment in time, so you could hear the messages Pam is about to share with you. She is a multi-dimensional healer, light language channel, transformation coach, wife and mother, committed to helping you discover the tools and practices to empower you to live the best life you can. You get to choose the spirit path you take. You can connect to the spiritual guidance already all around you. Get ready to live a fully empowered life. This is the Empower Me Show.
Everyone, my name is Pam Bright, and you are listening to the Empower Me Show here on Transformation Talk Radio. I'm so glad that you tuned in once again. And I am here with my dear friend, Barbara Worsley, who is the East Coast Dragon Lady. And she and I connected online on Facebook through another group, which is great. Shout out to Jamie and Cheryl, who connected us together and in a similar group. And we connected because we love dragons and we love energy, we love channeling, and we're just going to see what shows up today for us. So thank you so much, Barbara, for being here. Thank you, all of you who are tuning in. And I'm just going to start with a little grounding because that's what I need to do for myself. And it really helps us to disconnect from the world and all the busyness of the day, however long you've been awake until now, and allows us to really center into this sacred moment. I believe that every moment can be sacred, and sometimes we forget that it's up to us to create that, and through our intention of creating that sacred space. So we're going to create sacred space right now. If you're in a position where you can close your eyes, go ahead and do that. If you need to be conscious and you need to be aware of your surroundings, then please just listen to what's coming through and allow yourself to be safe in the moment. So, Creator of all that is, the one who lives and breathes within all things, I always connect to you first because you are my reason for being alive in this human body. And I thank you for the ability to connect to you from the soul. And I thank you for my life and the lives of all those beings, beautiful beings that are connected now. I now ask that all of our guides, teachers, and angels who love us so much come into this sacred vortex, in this space, this time and space, this multidimensional universe, and bring us every energy that's available to assist us in our lives, whatever they are. We each are connected individually as well as collectively. And so we, of course, invite in all of the dragon energy, all the beautiful beings that have assisted us through time. And we bring in all magical beings that love us, all star beings that love us. We ask in beautiful Gaia, the Earth Mother, to come and assist us in remembering to be consciously in our bodies. Sometimes our bodies feel like an empty vessel because our souls are not in our bodies. So we now invite our beautiful soul, all of the soul, into this human form. And we bring our consciousness online into our bodies. And we ask our emotional bodies to also come into this beautiful vessel. Our spiritual selves to come into this vessel. And any other fragments that feel like they are not connected, you can just simply request that they come in now. I'm pulling those fragments that might be out in the multiverse, inviting them back in now. Thank you, thank you, thank you for coming in. And we now use light language to anchor all of this centering into our physical selves. Nastara etara inechu ala cheche nama iki mama ite. Ustera ba indu baba inda baike. Utezana made umbaba yeki mama I. Azanda bebe nama ite nama. Eda baba inu mana yeke umbaba ye. Asane na ikada da ye. Santa ye sana maikia. Na sana menekia tana makia. Kena mamaya chana mamakie. Utatana minte nanai kena mama. Ika mamakia. Tukina makana kia sata. Usena makia. Na she. Great. So open your eyes when you're ready. Invite yourself to be conscious in this moment and receive anything that you're needing to receive in this time and space. Welcome back. So Barbara, I'm so glad that we're connected.
Yes.
Thank you for being here.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. So tell me a little bit about you and your journey. The listeners would love to hear kind of how you got into this work that you're doing now. Has it always been with you? Did you know about dragons? Did you know about Merlin? Did you know about, the magical energies? How was it that you came to this work that you're doing now from when you started this life?
Yeah, there's a long and there's a short answer to that. So I met Merlin about 30 years ago when I was just embarking on a spiritual path, which was really via Reiki, which was one of the first modalities that I learned. And of course, anybody that knows Merlin, I met him in the woodlands while I was walking. And it was the first time I'd ever seen another being that wasn't human or wasn't, but he was in the woods and he had a lot to talk to me about. And he was very familiar. He was that classic pointed hat, long hair, long beard, very wise. And he just had a lot of things to share with me. And I sort of put that aside. And as I say to everybody, sort of life happened. I did Reiki. I also I learned polarity therapy, which is a similar sort of hands-on, slightly different modality. So I was really doing hands-on healing. And then life happened. I got divorced. I had teenage kids. Life happened. And it wasn't until a couple of years ago, it's almost like 2 years, that I was just very guided to start. I was looking, I guess it was during COVID, I was looking for some sort of spiritual community. I wasn't quite sure what I was looking for. And I found a group of people in Arizona. So once I found them and realized that I was on some sort of spiritual journey, I guess it was spirit, but I just allowed myself to be taken for that year, see where it went. And I did some other modalities. I learned another level of Reiki. And still there was, I guess what I learned was that I used to say that I was automatic writing. I used to write a lot of messages, but I never connected it with channeling until somebody actually pointed out that I channeled. And at that time I was channeling ascended masters. So the minute that I said, oh, I'm a channel, it completely changed. Like the messages came in faster, sometimes too fast. So I was always writing. But it was almost like when you embrace what it actually is, it shifted. And I know that we connected around light language. And it's really been, I would say the last 2 years it's been very, very fast. And dragons weren't even there at the time. But what has been fascinating is that Merlin reappeared and has been connecting me to all sorts of other beings and people, which started to be the Galactics. And again, I'm thinking, but who am I talking? And every time I went and looked at it, Googled it, thank goodness for Google, they were like, yes, these are, Commander Ashtar. Yes, that's true. So I was starting to like, wow, I'm really talking to galactic realms. And then literally it was about this time last year, I was out walking and I got a very strong message to look up. I kept hearing, look up, look up. And when I looked up, there was at least 6 huge dragons and they were flying in the sky. I mean, and I took pictures and I still have those. And I had to, like, when I got home, I could zoom in and you could see their faces. And they didn't really say much to me other than look up, look up. And then I was telling people that I was seeing sky dragons. I called them my sky dragons. And then they started communicating with me. And they told me things that I didn't even know about dragons. But they were so happy that I had connected with them. And again, once I'd connected, it just moved really, really fast. I connected with a few other people that also knew about dragons or channeled dragons. But what they've told me just recently, which is my other title that they actually gave me, is Galactic Dragon Ambassador. And so what Merlin say, he's reminding me that was also, so he calls me, and this is the term he uses, that I am a connector. And he emphasizes the connector, that I connect galactic. So really my role is to work with the galactic dragons, but I'm also aware of the other dragons as well.
I see.
So that's the sort of shortish long version. I mean, I could go on forever about, but that's what they want. It's not like I have to have a specific, because some people have, a group of dragons that they work with. They're telling me I'm connecting, and I can talk more about that. But
that's great. That's actually really a lot of information very, very quickly. That's wonderful. So
yeah.
Yes, so we are going to actually allow people to kind of call in if they want to, or write in if they want to. And every time that I have somebody on the show, I open that door up for people.
Yes.
So
yeah.
if you're listening to this program or you're watching this program and you want to call in, and you can see the screen, the number is actually on your screen, but let me tell you what it is. If you're driving or you're not looking visually at us, the number is 1-800-930-2819. You can call us and actually get a message for yourself personally. If you have a question about something and you're wondering, is this okay? Is this right? Is this real? Any of that kind of questioning is open to us coaching you and sharing with you our experience and what we are picking up. If you want to type it in the chat, we've got a chat line on Transformation Talk Radio. You can do that. But we're going to just continue with this dialogue and see where it goes. And what I understand is that Merlin and the dragons have some information for us, want to give us some really great, juicy tidbits. And one of the things that I'm aware of is I think that yesterday was the solstice. Was it not? So that means the beginning of summer.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime that we're in a shifting of the seasons, it's really a power time for the planet. Mm-hmm. And for anything going on in the skies. Many people are now connected to the activity in the skies and are having the ability, what they call the veil is actually thinner now. So people are able to see more, experience more, have more connection to what used to be known as the invisible realm, and is actually now being presented as a really concrete connection. From what I'm hearing from Barbara, it's very solid now. And so she's able to connect to the dragon realm, to the galactic realm, to the magical realm, if you will. and really bring that information to us in a way that we can understand it. And so as we connect in with our own knowing, I ask all of you to really do this, really just allow yourself to receive. And that is the divine feminine. From my understanding of that experience is when we connect in with the divine feminine, it's not forced. We don't have to push ourselves to try. We don't have to force anything to happen. We simply ask the divine feminine. Actually, let's do that right now. Let's just ask the divine feminine now, that beautiful energy that we know is so prevalent on the planet, to make yourself known to each and every listener of this program, and even go beyond that to those that might not understand, might not believe, might not even know that there is such a thing as the divine feminine. Because we know that when one or more are gathered, that magic happens. When one or more are gathered together, that it creates a synergy of energy that can be spread throughout all of the cosmos, all of the realms, all of the whole entire earth, and beyond into other universes. So we now ask this divine feminine energy to make yourself known. She's been called Sophia. She's been called the Lady in White. I don't know where that came from, but that came through. She has been known as Barbara. Any other names that the divine feminine has been called in your understanding?
Kuan Yin
Kuan Yin.
and Kali Ma.
Kali Ma. Yes, Kali Ma. Kali Ma, from my understanding, is the one that I say the destroyer, but she's like, she breaks things apart.
Yes.
So that it can be dismantled.
Yes.
And boy, oh boy, is there a lot of dismantling happening on the planet right now.
And she's been, actually, the dragons gave information to somebody else for me and said that I was to connect to Kali Ma. And I've been doing probably that for the last 2 weeks. And it, like, her images aren't like warm and fuzzy. And when I first looked at them, I was like, oh, no, I've seen it before. But once you absorb that and realize, as you said, it's about breaking apart, and then underneath that exterior, there's so much love and heart-centeredness. And it's like, and I get goosebumps. And like every card, I usually pick a card a day, and every one is spot on for what I need in that day. And it's a lot of work you do. So there's a lot of energy, but it shifts really fast. So you're right. We need that energy here.
Yes, absolutely. So Kali Ma, we thank you for coming as well. And the other thing I'm getting pretty strongly from you is that you are here to assist us in really what we call our dark side, our anger, our fear, our worry, our mistrust, our terror, our, all of the things that we're afraid of. You come in and say, it's okay. I'm going to assist you in embracing all of that.
Right.
And a lot of the work that I am doing and have been doing is really looking at systems in the world and looking at really what needs to break down so that new systems can be built. Right. And so it sounds like Kali Ma is one that will assist with that.
Yeah. And it's interesting that, this looking down, and that's where the dragons come in. But before I talk about the dragons, when we were talking about divine feminine, Merlin reminded me that he has a wife called Gwendolyn, who is also walks on the path with me. And she might have said that, this is what she's told me many times, but she walks on the path with me each day, holding my hand. She is holding my heart, and she walks the path. And she's sort of quietly there. And the first time that I got a message from her, I was like, Merlin has a wife. I was like, and of course I Googled it, and the way that the spelling, it's the world way of spelling it, that's exactly who she is. So she's this beautiful, just energy, like very heart-centered energy. So that is just, I was blown away. And so she's been that person walking with me for a long time, as well as Gwendolyn, as well as Merlin. But the dragons are like coming in, like you said, because the earth needs help. It's not new, but even more so recently, I think, with everything that's going on. And as a by the way, which anybody that has seen any of my website, in July 2nd, which is just a few weeks away, there's going to be an International Dragon Thunder, which is a gathering of humans and dragons. This is actually somebody who I connected with, who actually lives in England, even though with my accent. I've lived here for 30 years, but I literally got introduced to him by somebody else who's the English mystic, but he's also a dragon whisperer. And the dragons told him that he needed to gather 1,000 people and their dragons. And at the last count, we were about 700 people have signed up for. It's a whole day of people talking about their experiences with dragons. Some are channeling them, some are doing healings, and it's all free, which these days is, and there's going to be recordings, all the recording, and there's 11 presenters and 14 pre-recorded that will all be available on the Facebook page or via the Dragon Thunder.
That's beautiful. So actually, Emily, you can find the link for that. I put it in the description for Barbara. If you can put that up for the callers to see on the screen, that would be great, because then we can connect them in.
It's in England, so there's the British Standard Time, but I can only tell you East Coast time. So it's going to start at 9 a.m. East Coast time, which will be early on the West Coast, and go through till 6 p.m.
That's beautiful.
So I'm actually presenting, and I'm co-host. So it's going to be an exciting day. So yes. A lot of energy. Yeah.
Yay! Oh, this is really exciting, because here's the thing, guys. Okay, we live in the most exciting time in history ever, in my opinion. This is really, really, really exciting, because yes, you didn't think dragons were real. Well, think again, okay? All those things that we think of as fairy tales, as we think of as myth, some human being wrote about those things, which means that those human beings had a thought about those things. We only can think a thing, and if it's there, right?
Right.
We call it our imagination. We call it our dreamscape. We call it, we saw a picture and, oh, there's a dragon but that's not real, right? We are now realizing that we are bringing those beings, those mythical creatures, back to our time now, because it's time for them to be here. They have messages to give us. They want to co-create with us. They want to inhabit the same space. And what the information I've received over the years about the dragons is maybe different than what Barbara got. It may be different from any of the other people in the Dragon Summit. That doesn't make it any less real.
Right. And I think that there's always the similar message, and everybody that has signed up. I mean, I'm seeing people messages and things, and everyone's saying the dragon. Because so when Kevin was told to gather these, he was told that people would find him who were, they call them dragon riders. That's what the dragons call it. It doesn't necessarily mean you were riding a dragon, but that's how they view us. We're humans and we're dragon, right? Because many lifetimes ago, we probably did ride the dragons. And some dragon, there are people that connect with different types of dragons, more earthbound or more etheric. And mine have been galactic. And that's, there's again, nothing wrong with that. But what I find interesting is some of the things they tell me, and then I find out that scientifically or somebody else says, oh yeah, my dragons live in caves as well, but they live on other planets, or my dragons live here. I mean, I just encountered, I was able to do a journey to Inner Earth, and all my dragons were there, and I didn't know that I had all these dragons in Inner Earth, and they were like, where have you been? We've been waiting for you. And I'm like,
I love that.
And what was really nice was that oftentimes people don't see a whole dragon. Some people see a dragon's eye, some people see maybe a head. It's not very often that they see the whole dragon, because oftentimes they're huge. But they were coming up to me and allowing me to hold their faces so I could see their eyes and I could feel them. And then when two of them took me on this journey, they actually came with me to Inner Earth, and they just showed me all this beautiful thing. I mean, just beautiful images, which a lot of people say once you've been there, you don't want to come back from Inner Earth. And they were like, now you're here, now we can get to work, because now you get it. Because I needed to go out and do all this other stuff, because there are dragons out there that still need to be found.
That's great. That's awesome. So we are going to take a break, but before we do, I'll let you know, folks, and I think I've mentioned to you as well, Barbara, that so far it's just 2, but sometimes a little one comes in every now and again. But there's 2 dragons that I work with, and I work with them around the karmic imprint and releasing the karmic oaths, agreements, and the oaths and agreements that are keeping us hostage, if you will, because they haven't been released. And so that's the work that I have been able to do, and I continue to work with, which is beautiful. And they do live in the earth. And I'm also aware of the dragons on other planets. So that's the information I'm receiving. It's really beautiful. It's all kind of coming together.
Right. That's right. And that's why I say you can't make any of this thing up, because you and I have not had that conversation about dragons on planets, right?
Oh, interesting. Okay. See?
Yeah.
Now, see, this is why, folks, it's really important that each of us realizes we are not an island. We cannot live alone any longer. It's really time, energetically and collectively, for us to come together as a group, right? We all came to this planet for a reason. And if you think that that's not true, look at your life. Really look at, your lifestyle and say, okay, is something missing? Do I feel like I need to connect to some other people? Do I feel like some energies are wanting to come in and I don't really know what to do with them? This is the place to really get your questions answered, really seek out new life and new civilizations, as Star Trek says. Just had that reference come in. Thank you. So we are going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to get some messages from Merlin and the dragons and whoever else wants to give us some information about our lives, our goals, our dreams, our planetary kind of reality right now. So we will be back in a couple minutes. Thank you. We are listening to the Empower Me show. We are listening to it. I am listening to it. Barbara's listening to it. I love the music. in the
Mhm.
background.
Yeah.
That's what I was referring to, is I just love that track. So,
Mhm.
and it brings me into the zone. So if you want to be in the zone with me, simply say yes, open up your hands to receive. And that's really what I want to presence right now, is all of these beings, the galactic beings from other planets, the earth, the Gaia in the earth that we live on, the dragon beings, the angelic beings, your fairies that you work with, whatever it is that you're connected to, the crystal beings, all of them are here for you. You, the listener out there, you are here for a reason, in a body, to be a vessel for whatever energies want to come through you, whatever energies want to connect to you. You're here for a reason. Now you get to say, okay, how do I connect to the beings that I love, the beings that want to love me, and be on my path, which is my mission for this lifetime?
Mhm.
The best way that I know to do that is to ask. Sit where you are, stand where you are, kneel where you are, be where you are right now, and simply ask. I now ask for all beings that want to connect to me right now to come into my space, come into my body, come into my auric field. Make yourselves known to me now. I ask that you assist me any way that you feel is important for me to know and receive. And I thank you for this connection right now. And that's how easy it can be, folks. Okay.
Mhm.
Not a lot of working, not a lot of pushing, not a lot of, doing a whole bunch of ritual, unless you like ritual, you like ceremony, that's perfectly okay to do, but they're ready and
Mhm.
waiting for you to say yes.
Mhm.
So, what messages want to come through for the collective, Miss
Right.
Barbara?
So I think just what you were saying was, and we were talking about this in the break, that the dragons, when people ask me, and it's usually one of the main questions is, how do I connect with my dragon or my dragons? How do I know they're there? And they always have the same message, which is just sit and quieten your mind. And they can appear in, similar to what Pam said, you might see a shimmering out the corner of your eye. You might catch a glimpse of them. Sometimes people can feel them. It really depends on how you perceive this. But they're right there. They're literally like we could touch them if we wanted to. And all they need you to do is to invite them to come into your space, and then just be quiet and you'll receive what you need to receive. For some people, it's messages, sometimes it's images, but they're there, and the dragons that you attract will be the ones that you need at that time, and they can change a lot. I mean, a lot of them are earth dragons, so they do a lot of work on the earth and work with us humans. But also, I think when you were saying about, we chose to come here onto Earth at this particular time, and there's a lot more people are waking up to their lights are shining, is what I'm hearing. We're like these lighthouses that are lighting up, and as we expand, we light up. And then we can be seen, especially by the Galactics often tell me this, that, as we see stars in the sky, they see us. As we look up, they look down and they see us as little sparkles as well.
Mhm.
So, and the more, so they're saying that the more we do, the more healing we do, the more that we take care of ourselves. It's a collective. We not only heal ourselves, but we heal everybody else.
Yes, absolutely.
So the healing and Mother Gaia, I do, she's somebody I've worked with a lot. And she's always saying that we need to treat her as we would treat our own mother. We need to give her respect and send her. She wants love. I mean, she gives us love. She holds us all each day. But that's what she's always saying is, respect me like you would respect your mother. So I always think that gives me goosebumps.
So Mother Mary also,
Yes.
when you were talking, I just got, oh yes, Mother Mary is here to bring divine feminine in as well.
Yes. Oh, and Christ consciousness. Yes.
Yes.
That's another one that came in for me on the divine feminine, the Christ consciousness, which is, I think, a whole nother show to talk about Christ consciousness.
Well, if you agree to come back, I'll have you back another time.
Yes. Yeah, because I think oftentimes when you say Christ consciousness, people think that is a religious thing, but it isn't. It's just that energy that, again, we need. It's coming in. We're all waking up to it in different ways. So I know you were asking so what Merlin wanted to say as well was, and I told Pam this before when she was like, can Merlin say something? He has a way of knowing that he needs to speak. And a while ago, I found there's a stone called Merlinite, which I don't know if you can see, but it's sort of a speckled, but it's actually got another name, but people refer to it as Merlinite. And when Pam asked me if Merlin would be here, he said, well, of course I will, because you have that stone now.
I love it.
But he could come in at any time. But the Merlinite is, let me tell you, it enhances psychic abilities such as mediumship, clairvoyance, clairsentience, spiritual communication, past life recall, and shamanic journeying, and more. So a very powerful stone. If you can ever get your hands on it, I was lucky to get that. So yeah, as I said, he's been around for a long time, and he connects. He's a connector as well. He's and also an elder dragon. So sometimes, there's a lot of ascended masters also, and they don't always like the word shapeshift, but they change into dragons. So like Merlin is Merlin the dragon when he wants to go off and do some of his traveling. So
great. So does he have a specific message for us right now?
Let me see. What to talk about? Well, he says he always likes talking about anything. He says he's when he speaks, because I said earlier he can is very long-winded. He tells like stories around things, and he said, I've been doing this a long time, and I'll take my time because I'm old. And he also speaks in the old ways. So when I've channeled him and written it down, often he uses like old English terminology, which is fascinating. So what is he showing? He's showing, so he loves the wood. He loves the woodlands. And he says that a lot of people connect with him when they're in the woodlands, in the mountains. Can hear me on the winds. And the streams and the trees. And he loves nature, and his connection is also with Mother Gaia, that he's been walking the earth as long as Mother Gaia has been here, he says. So he has a connection with her and all the elements. So like you were saying, the fairies, this is the fairies, and all of those little, what is he calling them, little imps that run around and cause trouble in the woods.
I love that.
Yes, he's old, so he says he doesn't appreciate that. But he does, he loves when he works with people, he likes to see people connecting others to other communities and other resources, because he says there's so much happening right now that there needs to be more of us connecting. There needs a network, which I think we're building a network.
We are building it. Yep.
Yeah. It's almost like building the bridge as you walk across it. But yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Merlin. Perfect. Yes. All right. So is there a particular, since we're winding down here for our hour, is there a particular dragon or group of dragons that want to give us a message today? Or any particular, like, action steps? That'd be another great thing. Any particular action steps that they are wanting to aid us in accomplishing on the earth?
Well, so oftentimes dragons like to talk in collectives because they've got a lot of things to share. So as a general message, they're saying that they're really excited about this opportunity of a lifetime to come to Earth to reconnect, because none of us are meeting the dragons for the first time. We're reconnecting with each other. And this has been something in the making for many centuries and has not been possible until now. So they are very excited that the humans have listened and have actually moved forward and are making this possible to, and they're just very, very excited at just what they're seeing right now. And they know that this is going to be the first of many reconnecting and connecting. So they're just very excited. And they just ask that everybody just pay attention, and they will answer your question.
Perfect. So we have Bobby on the line, and Bobby, I'm sure, would love a message from the dragons. So Emily, we're ready for Bobby whenever you want to bring him on. Hey, Bobby. Hi.
I want to ask a couple questions. Is Merlin also known as Saint Germain?
Funny, no, they're two different people. But how did you know that? I was just channeling before I came on here. I was channeling Saint Germain. He is works in the inner earth, which is so that's why he's come up. But no, they're not the same. They're two different ascended masters.
Okay, and how can I work with him? And how can I work with, what is her name, Kalima?
Oh, Kalima. It's Kali. Kali. It's my accent. Somebody said to me, I don't understand your accent. It's
Kalima. Kalima.
Kalima. Or if you just look up Kali. You can certainly, so what I was guided to was to get an oracle deck of Kali and use it for yourself to, shuffle it, pull a card, and it's pretty intense. It's like 2 pages usually, and then there's a ritual or an incantation that you can say at the end to pull that energy into yourself.
So Bobby, you can ask Kali and you can ask Saint Germain to come onto your team.
Yeah,
it's really simple. Okay, and
I can ask.
What I would also say is, since you are a direct conduit channel, Barbara, can you give Bobby a message from either of them right now?
So Kali is saying that she's saying she might be too much right now for you, Her energy is pretty, she's saying abrupt, but there would be no harm in you actually researching or just Googling her and seeing if then she speaks to you. So I'm not really sure what you're looking for with that, but I think with Saint Germain, he is the purple flame, and he can help you burn up a lot of the negative energy, and so can dragons. There's a lot of purple dragons, and certainly there are red dragons that love to, it's not that they will burn away lower energies. So they're asking you to look at that first before you go to Kali. Does that make sense?
So can I talk to them like Merlin, Saint Germain, and Kali like I'm talking to you?
Absolutely, yes. It's really just sitting quietly and then just focusing in on one. And once you make a connection, I think you'll find that they're all connected. So then they will bring in the other one.
Okay.
It's practice. Practice.
And Bobby, because you and I have been working together for so long, you have the ability, to ask for them to come into your team, and they will come like very fast. Okay. And you also have the ability to channel yourself, as you know. So and the other thing that's happening for you, Bobby, is that you're asking to be integrated. So bringing new energies in for you to work with. And the more that you do that and ask for the integration to happen, the more that you will be open and available for what's next. Because you're a powerhouse, dude.
Yeah.
You're a powerhouse in this world, and you've just begun to recognize that. And you've just begun to own the power that has been given to you. So the more that you say yes, the more that you will receive.
Mm-hmm. And I would also say Kuan Yin is a much gentler feminine energy that you might want to look at as well.
Kuan Yin, Kali, Saint Germain, and Merlin, I invite you to come on my team right now, and I accept that you're on my team right now. And thank you that you're on my team. I am really appreciative of it, and I thank you that I can talk to you just like I'm talking to Pam and Barbara.
Mm-hmm.
I receive you with open arms on my team. Mm-hmm. It is so done. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Nashtarayne senamaike mamaike. Utena makicha namakaane. Usu namakia mamamakiche. Sandayeza namaita namaikiba. Ekukuma maite namaka anakia. Ukinanan chenamaita namanai. Ina mamaitum. E babaiteche. Nasaninaike. Aiye. There we go. It's nice and anchored now.
By the way, all right. And what stones work with Merlin and Kali and Kuan Yin? I know Saint Germain's amethyst.
Yes. Well, yes, amethyst, because that's the color of. So when I did my journey to inner Earth, it's all amethyst and reds. Kuan Yin likes rose quartz. And any
okay,
quartz,
I've got that.
Yeah. Merlin, I'm going to say any of the green stones because of the earth energy. And as I was saying, I found this, I didn't even know there was a stone called merlinite, but that holds a lot of his energy as well, if you can find it.
Merlinite. So I will type that in for you, Bobby, so that you have the spelling of it. But I think it's, isn't it just ITE?
Yeah, merlinite. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, anything
And
else, Bobby, before we go?
could you also send me Barbara's email and contact info? And
Of course.
Sure.
Of
Yeah.
course.
I really
Yes.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
You can check me out on my website.
Yep. If you
All
go
right.
if you go to the East Coast Dragon Lady and just type that in, her
Yeah.
information will come up.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Excellent. Okay. Well, thanks, Bobby, for calling in.
Well, thank you, Bobby.
And we are going to wrap it up now. Okay. So any other information that you feel is really important for folks to hear today, Barbara?
No, I just think if people can tune in on July 2nd at any time during the day, it's going to be a whole day event. I think they're tuning in at the right time, right? Because, you know, if there's going to be so many people speaking, whenever they tune in, it will be the right time. And we just hope we can get to 1,000 people for that. And then next year, we're talking about it being a 2-day event. So we're already
Yay.
ahead of ourselves because there's so many people wanted to speak. So I would say that's what all the dragons are talking about right now. It's
So
like they
it's-
can't wait.
Yep. So it's the International Dragon Summit. Is that right?
So it's called the Dragon Thunder. So it's www.dragonthunder.info.
Okay.
So,
Great.
and you go there and you will see all the presenters, all the pre-recording, and it's going to be there free for anybody to go to. But you just have to sign up. That's all.
Beautiful. Excellent. So if people want to find you outside of that event, but actually want to connect to you and have some personal reading time with you, how do they do that?
So again, easy. It's www.eastcoastdragonlady.com. That's my website. My email address is the same, eastcoastdragonlady@gmail.com.
Perfect. I love that. Excellent.
Yeah.
Cool. So you are also a light language channel. Do you want to send us off with a light language message?
Yeah, I don't vocal very often, but I do. Yes, I can certainly do that. Unless it
Beautiful.
comes through. Yeah.
Okay, just ask.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. It's been wonderful. Thank you for connecting with me again, Pam.
Oh, absolutely. So that was beautiful. And that is right at time for us to say goodbye to all of you who have tuned in today. We are so grateful that you're here, and know that your connection to the spirit world is simply a request away. Simply ask that you connect, and your beings that are ready to connect with you will come in. Okay? They've been waiting. They've been waiting for a long time to connect. So thank you, folks. Your life is up to you. Keep opening to what's next for you, and we will see you next week with another beautiful guest. Have a glorious day, a glorious night wherever you are, and many, many blessings to all of you. Thank you, my dear. Have a beautiful day.
Yes, and you. Well, it's the afternoon here.
Well, have a great night.
I will. Thank you, Pam.
All right,
we'll
honey.
connect again.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Empower Me Show with Pam Bright on Transformation Talk Radio. Tune in to learn more about living a fully empowered life. Remember that your life is up to you, and you can choose the spiritual path you are on. There is spiritual energy and wisdom in everything and everyone around you. Listen carefully for what the universe is trying to tell you in every moment. You are already being guided along your journey. Call upon your spirit guides anytime you need help with anything. Know that you are safe in every moment, even if it seems that you are not. For more information about Pam Bright, visit brightbutterflyenterprises.com or email theempowermeshow@gmail.com. Thank you very much for listening. We hope to see you next week.